All right, I'm going to talk about self-empowerment. So there's kind of two mindsets we can have. We can have a self-empowered mindset, and we can have a victim mindset, right? So to kind of describe these, I'm going to kind of use this idea that everything is a tool. Okay, you probably heard that before. Some people say that everything is a tool. So to give an example, a library is a tool. Okay, you can use a library to learn and to read and to educate yourself, and you can then use that education to perhaps build a well-meaning business, right? And on the other hand, you could also use that library to learn how to manipulate people and to build a sinister business. Okay, perhaps you build a drug empire with the knowledge that you gained from reading books, right? So the library is a tool, and we can use that tool for good or for evil. Okay, and another example is a gun. Okay, a gun is a tool, right? We can use a gun to protect innocent people, and we can use a gun to kill innocent people. The library and the gun are tools, right? They have no agency by themselves. We have agency over the tools, right? And in effect, we could say we have control over the tools. So, to bring back those two mindsets, the self-empowered mindset and the victim mindset, when we are in a self-empowered mindset and we look at the ability to purchase a gun, or we look at a library, we're going to use that library. Well, we might use it to educate ourselves again, or we might purchase a gun to protect innocent people. On the other hand, if you are in the victim mindset, what you might be inclined to do is you might be inclined to censor certain misinformation that certain books will have, right, in the library. Or maybe you will be inclined to regulate or to ban people from owning guns, right? There's a very important distinction between these two mindsets in relation to gun regulation and censorship, right? So if you're in that self-empowered mindset, you are using the tools for good. And in effect, you are exercising your control. You're exercising your agency over those tools to create good and to fight evil, right? But if you are in that victim mindset, and that victim mindset drives you to regulate guns or to ban guns, or if it drives you to censor speech, to censor books, then what you're doing is you're no longer exerting agency. You're no longer exerting control over the tools, but you're actually exerting control over people's access to the tools. So now you're controlling people, okay? And what you've actually done here is you've made people into the tool, because you have declared that you have agency to control other people. People don't like this, okay? People don't respond well when you control them, okay? In fact, it causes backlash. It may even be counterproductive to your goal. What that means is that when you try to regulate guns, people are going to lash out. It might incline them to use those guns for evil, right? When you try to censor speech, it might incline people to spread misinformation, but they may not even believe that misinformation is misinformation. They may now believe it is the truth. And if you are the one trying to censor them, they look at you as evil, and perhaps they look at the information you are trying to spread as evil as well. This is, again, it's counterproductive to your goal. So what we want to do is we want to be in that self-empowered mindset. Instead of trying to ban guns, instead of trying to ban books or censor people, what we want to do is we want to let everyone have the guns. Let everyone protect themselves, and there's going to be more good people. There's going to be more people using those guns for good than for evil. And in the other example regarding the library, we want to debate in a free marketplace of ideas. We want to challenge the ideas we disagree with, and in effect, we are not censoring, but we're offering alternatives. This is a much better way to get rid of the information that you don't like. It's not necessarily going to get rid of it, but it's going to, those bad ideas are going to get defeated in the marketplace of ideas. But the minute you remove the freedom from that marketplace of ideas by censoring people, again, it's just going to cause backlash. It's going to cause chaos. People are going to grip onto those ideas harder, and that's why misinformation is so prevalent right now. It's because people are trying to censor other people. You can't censor your way out of a misinformation problem. Likewise, you can't regulate your way out of a gun violence problem. You have to get down to the deeper catalysts here, and the deeper catalysts is the fact that we are trying to control people rather than, what causes gun violence? Poverty causes gun violence, right? When people can't get their needs met, they might become violent to meet those needs. And likewise, if we try to censor people, people are going to dig into those beliefs. They're going to radicalize harder. And again, this causes a division we're seeing now. This division between all of these culture divides, right? It doesn't help us actually find a consensus. We need to debate ideas in a free marketplace. So there's another example I'm going to provide here. So we can state facts, okay? And if we were to vocalize a fact, okay, for example, we could vocalize the fact that obesity is unhealthy, okay? That is akin to the gun salesman, okay, who is offering a gun to anyone who may want to buy it, right? If we vocalize that fact, and somebody, perhaps an obese person who is in a victim mindset, was to take that fact and victimize themselves with it, what they have effectively done is they've basically purchased a gun and shot themselves in the foot. They've taken the tool that is the fact that obesity is unhealthy, and they've used it to victimize themselves. Instead, what we want to encourage is people to take that fact, to empower themselves to lose weight, right? To become healthier. We can't ban facts. We can't censor facts just because they're inconvenient to you, right? On the other hand, there are actually studies that have shown that fat shaming is counterproductive. In fact, it doesn't help people lose weight. It causes people to gain weight. But the statement of a fact is not fat shaming, okay? If you state that obesity is unhealthy, that is not criticizing somebody directly. You're not fat shaming. You're stating a fact. There's a fine line between criticizing somebody and stating a fact, right? Fat shaming has a malicious intent to it, right? You're trying to shame somebody. But by giving somebody information and perhaps helping them with their diet, providing tips, you are not criticizing them so much as you are trying to empower them. But if the person who is obese decides to victimize themselves and use that fact and kind of construe it or misconstrue it as criticism, again, they're kind of shooting themselves in the foot. They are consciously choosing to use that fact to victimize themselves rather than empower themselves. So the point here is, like, we have to ask ourselves, is it more evil to reject another person's agency and censor or hide facts that may become misconstrued or maybe inconvenient because they could be misconstrued as criticism? Or should we instead state those facts so that people might be able to empower themselves? I think the answer to that question is pretty clear. We want to state the facts to enable people to empower themselves. We don't want to reject people's agency just because it may be inconvenient or just because they may be misconstrued by somebody in that victim mindset. We want to encourage that self-empowerment mindset. Likewise, we don't want to justify banning any tools, whether it be a gun, whether it be a library or a book, or whether it be certain inconvenient facts that have the capacity to create good and to fight evil, just because they also have the capacity to create evil. Okay, you can't blame the tool because that leads you to seek control over another person's agency when you try to ban people from using that tool. Okay, and someone who may use that tool to fight evil, we can't justify banning that tool because somebody else may use that tool to fight good. What I'm trying to get across here is that when you navigate this world, it's all about perspective. Okay, it's all about mindset. You can believe that bad things are happening to you, or you can believe that they're happening for you. You can believe that you are a victim to all of the things in the world, or you can use the hardships to learn lessons. You can use your mistakes and reframe those mistakes as lessons rather than shaming yourself for those mistakes or shaming others for their mistakes. There's this concept of a compliment sandwich, and what that entails is that when you give somebody advice, when you don't necessarily want to just blatantly criticize them. What you want to do instead is you want to compliment them, give them a little tip, and then compliment them again. And what that does is it comes off as if you're actually trying to help them rather than just giving them pure criticism. This is a much better way to give criticism to somebody, because it's going to show them that they are on the right path. They have done things that are right. It's going to give them the perception that they are not completely failing. It's going to give them the perception that you are on their team and you actually want to help. So you give that compliment sandwich. Give it a try next time you think about criticizing someone. Next time you try to give somebody advice, compliment them, give them a little piece of advice, and then compliment them again. Okay, and it's going to give them the perception that you are really there to help. And beyond that, maybe they help you back, because none of us are perfect. We all need help with something, whether we know it or not, whether we're willing to admit it or not. So give that a little thought. Thanks for watching.